It's well known that our smartphones are listening to our conversations, and many believe that the government operates in ways that are not completely transparent. We were not told the truth about COVID, and the circumstances surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's death and life have fueled speculation and conspiracy theories, many of which have substantial evidence to back them up. But beyond these widely known issues, there are numerous lesser-known conspiracies that are so terrifying we can only hope they are not actually real. This one is about to get interesting, so strap yourself in, hit those lights, and enjoy. The dolphin birthing method that gives humans hyper-intelligence has been covered up. Dolphins are considered some of the most intelligent animals on the planet, demonstrating a range of cognitive abilities that distinguish them from other species. Their intelligence is evident in their sophisticated communication methods and their ability to use tools. Renowned for their playful and friendly nature, dolphins have formed special bonds with humans and can be trained to perform various tasks. Several dolphin-assisted therapy projects already exist and have shown improvements in human conditions such as autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, microcephaly, and possibly even tumor healing. Dolphins have a specialized structure known as the melon, which is an oily lens located just beneath their foreheads. The melon is piezoelectric, similar to quartz crystals. When it vibrates due to sound, it generates electromagnetic fields that may promote healing in humans. Research on the intensity of sound and electrical data related to dolphins has shown that their sounds can influence the frequency and power of brainwaves. When dolphin sounds resonate within the human body, they can affect bodily functions, influence DNA by activating or deactivating specific genes, and have direct effects on our physiology. The benefits of dolphin therapy are well known. However, there is another benefit dolphins can bring to humans that has so far been kept under wraps. Russian midwife Igor Charvosky has assisted in over 20,000 underwater births, and through his experimentation with dolphins, he inadvertently discovered something that could change the world for years to come. In 1979, Igor's daughter was one of the first modern water birthers, and she experienced a remarkable event. Igor and his team took her to the Black Sea for an underwater birth. While in the shallow water and preparing for the birth, 3 dolphins suddenly approached, pushed everyone aside, and took charge. They scanned the length of the mother's body using sonar, which helped to relax both the mother and child, allowing for a pain and fear-free birth. The human midwives present were understandably shocked by this occurrence, leading to the emergence of the practice known as dolphin midwifery. But relaxation and pain relief were not the only benefits of giving birth with dolphins. In documented cases from Russia, children born with the assistance of dolphins have shown exceptional traits. Many are said to have IQs exceeding 150, which falls in the genius range, along with stable emotional characteristics and strong physical traits. These children are said to display superior abilities in various capacities, adapting to water as their natural environment and exhibiting heightened intelligence. So is this just a coincidence, or is there really something so unique about dolphins' abilities that they are able to transfer it to humans? It is known that dolphins have larger brains than humans, which makes them super intelligent. They use a complex language with the ability to create up to 1 trillion words, using at least 4 sounds at the same time. Their bigger brains have more cells and connections that help them think better. They can hear a wide range of sounds, reaching up to 280 kHz, while humans can only hear up to 20 kHz. Dolphins can remember up to 12 items in the short term, whereas humans usually remember around 7. This advanced language and their sonar skills allow dolphins to communicate and interact with us in impressive ways. So imagine if that superior intelligence was manifested in human form. But has this already been realized in Russia? Have they tapped into something that could make the next generation superhuman? And if so, is that a good thing, or could it potentially be disastrous? Currently, there is only one official dolphin-attended water birth center that is located in Hawaii, although it's unknown if any births have actually occurred there. As for the Russians, we do not know what they're up to, and no new information has come out about this. What do you think about this one? Flight 93 was shot down by the US Air Force. The events that unfolded in America on September 11, 2001 are undeniably etched into our collective memory. The chilling images of the burning towers are impossible to forget. That day, nearly 3,000 lives were tragically lost, when, according to the official story, Al-Qaeda terrorists hijacked 4 commercial airplanes, crashing them into key targets across the country. However, the dust had barely settled before conspiracy theories started to emerge. Now, nearly 25 years later, these theories continue to resonate in our digital world, driven by those who challenge the official narrative. One of the more compelling conspiracies surrounds Flight 93, the last of the hijacked planes to crash. The official account of the event states that terrorists brought down the plane in a field in Pennsylvania, following a revolt by the passengers. It was the only plane not to reach its intended target, believed to be one of the federal buildings in Washington, D.C. Although everyone on board lost their lives, the courageous actions of the passengers saved countless other lives. However, there are a growing number of conspiracy theorists who challenge the official narrative, claiming that the US Air Force shot down the aircraft following orders from the government. Let's take a look at their reasoning and see why many believe there is some truth to this claim. On the morning of September 11, 2001, the first 3 hijacked flights had already departed by the time Flight 93 took off from Newark International Airport in New Jersey, en route to San Francisco International Airport. On board with 37 passengers, including 4 terrorists and 7 crew members. During the flight, the crew had been made aware of the other hijacked planes, but were unable to act in time to stop the terrorists from taking control of their plane, after they breached the cockpit at 9:28 a.m., 46 minutes after takeoff. The cockpit voice recorder captured the final 30 minutes of terror. The terrorists diverted the aircraft back towards its intended target, believed to be Washington, D.C. For around 30 minutes, passengers and crew made urgent phone calls to officials and family members. 10 passengers and 2 crew members managed to connect, sharing information with their families, friends, and others on the ground about the plane being hijacked and the bomb threat on board. Some passengers told of their intentions to fight back and gain control of the flight. The passenger revolt began at 9:57. As a result, the plane changed its original course as the hijackers grappled with the controls and fought off the passenger intervention. After a brave fight, eventually the plane crashed into an empty field in Stony Creek, Pennsylvania at 10:03 a.m. Almost immediately after Flight 93 went down, eyewitnesses claimed to have seen a small white jet flying low over the crash site. The presence of the jet prompted theorists to claim that Flight 93 was downed by a US fighter jet. Debris from the crashed plane, including the plane's engine, was found miles away from the crash site, and residents around Indian Lake, 6 miles away, reported fishing out debris from the water. Theorists argue that such distances would only occur if the aircraft had broken up at high altitudes, most likely due to being struck by a heat-seeking missile. These claims were further fueled when retired US Army Colonel Don de Grand Prix appeared on The Alex Jones Show and claimed Major Rick Gibney was ordered to shoot down Flight 93, which he did at exactly 9:58 after firing 2 Sidewinder missiles at the plane. This photo was taken by a local resident after the plane crashed. Some conspiracies argue that the photo in question is fake. They claim that the color of the cloud does not match what would typically be produced by burning jet fuel. Additionally, they note that the cloud is too small, positioned incorrectly, and more closely resembles an explosion from an ordnance blast than from a plane crash. They believe this forgery was created as part of an elaborate government cover-up intended to conceal the fact that the plane was shot down. As we mentioned, several passengers and crew members managed to make phone calls to their loved ones after realizing that their plane had been hijacked. These calls were crucial in reconstructing the events aboard the flight, and the audio recordings revealed the story of the heroic passengers' revolt that ultimately led the hijackers to crash in a field. However, some theorists argue that these calls were staged by actors to support the government's narrative and to cover up the claim that Flight 93 was shot down. They support this allegation by asserting that it's supposedly impossible to get a phone signal at high altitudes on a plane, raising questions about how those calls were made in the first place. One of those calls was made by Edward Felt, who dialed 911 from his cell phone in the rear bathroom. He got through to the dispatcher, and multiple news reports about the call claimed that Felt reported hearing an explosion and seeing smoke coming from an undetermined location on the plane, again prompting claims that the plane had been hit by a missile. Another suggestion is that the passenger revolt had succeeded and pilots among the passengers had turned the plane around and were heading back west for a landing at Pittsburgh, but because the passengers had found out about the alleged plot by the government, they were shot down to keep them quiet. Another perspective on the success of the passenger revolt is the idea that Flight 93 landed in Ohio and that a different plane was involved in the crash in Pennsylvania. Initially, a news report mistakenly identified a landing in Cleveland for Flight 93, but this was later clarified to refer to Delta Flight 1989 and subsequently retracted. But that didn't stop the conspiracies. It's important to note that all of these theories have either been explained or dismissed as impossible. We do not want to be disrespectful to the families and friends of the 9/11 victims. Our aim is simply to provide you with the information that is available so you can make up your own minds. Whatever the truth is, our thoughts will always be with those impacted by the terrible events of September 11th, 2001. The government killed Andy Dawnson after he saw a giant. In recent years, TikTok has become a global phenomenon, attracting users from various backgrounds who share a wide range of content. Andrew Dawnson was no different, using the handle AndyCapped. Dawnson posted a variety of videos that showcased his normal everyday life in Canada. However, things changed drastically for Dawnson on April 9th, 2022, while he was driving with a friend near Whistler's Peak in Alberta, Canada. As the pair drove, Andrew noticed something strange on the ridge. Curious to take a look, he convinced his friend to stop the car. Believing he had witnessed something extraordinary, he videoed the figure that was standing on the ridge and posted it to his TikTok page with the subtitle, "It's a giant." Take a look.
What is it?
It's a person, dude. No, seriously, pull over, pull over.
No.
There's a person standing there.
No, it's not.
Dude, have you seen what I've seen right now? Do you see how far away it is? How far I have to zoom? Do you know how hard it is to keep a steady hand? If this video blows up, or somebody buys me a friggin' helicopter to get all the way up there.
The video went viral, and encouraged by the intention, Dawnson decided to investigate further to try and identify the mysterious figure. After promising his followers that he would try and get clearer footage, Andrew returned to the site. However, there was no sign of the mysterious figure. Undeterred, Dawnson continued his search and returned to the area once more, but whilst driving in Jasper National Park, he was stopped by what he described as a government agent who claimed he was trespassing. The next day he continued to search the area, but was stopped once again on the same road as the previous day, where he encountered the same agent, who once again instructed him to turn around. Andrew persisted and posted what he claimed was a UFO. Andrew was then absent from social media for a few weeks and sparked concern amongst his followers, but he returned and posted a video called "Being Stalked," in which he revealed that he was being watched by an unmarked vehicle. He seemed genuinely frightened in the following video. Take a look.
The guy's here again. Yeah, this is him. What's going on?
Road's closed. Turn around.
Really?
Yeah, man. Just turn around, please.
Okay. I think that's the same vehicle from... Hey!
After this video was uploaded, Andrew went missing from social media for a few weeks before returning once again with this update.
I have not disappeared. I have just been busy with life. I couldn't get around to posting and updating you guys, so now I'm going to give you an official update of what's been going on. Sorry to disappoint you guys, but all of the videos that I post, all the videos that I posted were scripted. They were just fake. They were just strictly for entertainment.
The comments went into overdrive, and many believed that he had been coerced into saying everything was fake by the government agents, who he claimed were following him. Commenters also believed someone else was present in the video, forcing him to say those things. 10 days later, whilst filming in the dark, he posted this video.
You might not see me post ever again. My videos weren't fake.
The following day, he posted this one.
What is that? That was not there yesterday.
After this video was posted, Andrew took a break and returned a few weeks later with his normal everyday life videos, making no mention of being stalked or the mysterious things that he had encountered. Tony Markel, host of the Confessionals podcast, reached out to Andrew on Instagram regarding a possible interview. When Andrew eventually replied, Tony asked if the videos were real or just a prank. Andrew responded, "All fake, everything is fake." Tony then inquired why. "What did you see?" To which Andrew replied that he couldn't discuss it and insisted that it never happened, and cautioned Tony not to communicate with him and urged him to stay safe. In the months that followed, it seemed that Andrew wanted to move on from the mountain mystery and get on with his life, but unfortunately that didn't appear to be possible. On July 1st, 2022, Andrew's death was announced in the Campbell River Mirror. He reportedly took his own life at the age of just 34. Speculation surged online. Was his death merely a coincidence, or was it yet another case of a whistleblower mysteriously disappearing? What had Andrew witnessed on that mountain? Why was he being followed? Did he uncover something so secretive that government agencies felt the need to silence him? Or was the whole thing a hoax? It's believed that Andrew was confronted by the infamous yet unidentified men in black. These secret government agents are rumoured to question, intimidate, harass, and even threaten witnesses who have seen things the government wants to keep hidden from the public. Some claims suggest that they may go as far as to erase witnesses' memories, to ensure silence or even make them disappear forever, as is allegedly the case with Andrew Dawnson. What do you make of this one? There is no gold at Fort Knox. Fort Knox is renowned for keeping secrets, but the biggest secret of all is just how much gold is actually stored inside America's famous gold depository, if any. Fort Knox is a highly classified US Army base located in Kentucky. The structure is made of granite, lined with concrete, and reinforced with steel to withstand even the most fierce attacks. Inside is a heavily fortified bunker surrounded by strong steel fences and multiple alarm systems. The roof is bomb-proof and is protected by Apache attack helicopters. The facility is said to contain and protect millions of ounces of gold. However, since this has never been proven, it has sparked numerous conspiracy theories about what is really stored there. Doubts about the presence of gold at Fort Knox have persisted for years, but rumours were reignited recently due to comments made by Donald Trump and Elon Musk. On February 20th, 2025, Trump suggested that he would visit Fort Knox to verify the existence of the gold, stating, "We're going to open up the doors. I'm going to see we have gold there. We want to find out if anyone has stolen the gold in Fort Knox." Musk also proposed a live broadcast inspection of the site. The statements have sent conspiracy theorists into a spin and opened up the debate about exactly how much gold is still housed at Fort Knox, with rumours claiming that most or all of the gold in Fort Knox is missing. The gold vault at Fort Knox was built in 1935 to safeguard America's gold during a time of rising global uncertainty. Fort Knox was selected as a location due to its status as a small army post and its mountainous terrain, which made it less vulnerable to air attacks. In 1937, gold was transported to Fort Knox on a specially designed 9-car train, protected by the 7th US Cavalry Brigade. Fort Knox is said to hold 147.3 million ounces of gold, valued at $6.22 billion. This value comes from a fixed gold price of $42 per ounce that was set in 1973. However, if we look at today's market value, the gold in Fort Knox would be worth around $274 billion. But there are doubts about whether all the gold is still at Fort Knox. Some believe that the gold bars might really be tungsten bricks painted to look like gold. They argue that the government secretly sold the real gold years ago to influence commodity markets, which lowered gold prices and helped strengthen the US dollar. The government, however, strongly disagrees, stating that the US Treasury performs annual audits of the vaults to ensure that the gold at Fort Knox is secure, though we can only take their word for it. As for visiting Fort Knox, opportunities are extremely limited. Only authorized personnel, such as US Treasury auditors or the President, can access the facility. Franklin Roosevelt was the only US President to visit the gold vault, which he did in 1943 to inspect the gold reserves. His visit was allegedly the only time the vault has ever been opened to anyone other than authorized personnel. However, in 2017, conspiracies about missing gold hit such a peak that Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin made a rare official visit to Fort Knox, accompanied by several elected officials. But Stephen and his delegation reportedly only got a quick look at one of the 13 compartments within the Fort Knox vault, leading some to label the visit as a strange PR stunt without a clear purpose. Nonetheless, he tweeted afterwards, "Glad gold is safe." But is it? These grainy black and white photos did nothing to quell the conspiracies. In fact, they caused more suspicion. Fort Knox has held much more than gold over the years, and due to the facility's secrecy, some conspiracies speculate about what else might be stored there, including potential evidence of extraterrestrial life. We hope Donald Trump will keep his promise to inspect Fort Knox, as he might uncover other intriguing mysteries. Whether or not he will be able to share them with the public, though, is another thing. High-ranking Nazi leaders fled to Neuschwabenland after World War II. Conspiracy theories range from completely absurd to somewhat plausible, and this next theory falls somewhere in between. While it does seem plausible, it also appears quite unlikely. It goes like this. After World War II, several high-ranking Nazi officials were put on trial in Nuremberg and were punished for their crimes. However, not everyone faced justice. Some managed to escape by using what is known as the rat line. The rat lines were escape routes used by German Nazis and other fascists fleeing Europe after World War II. While these routes primarily led to havens in Argentina, they also connected to countries such as Paraguay, Brazil, Uruguay, as well as the United States, Canada, and several other nations in the Americas and Europe. South American countries were attractive destinations for fleeing Nazis due to their welcoming immigration policies, making them appealing options for various refugees, including those with questionable pasts. Some of the most notorious figures from Nazi Germany utilized these routes, including Joseph Mengele, the infamous doctor from Auschwitz, and Adolf Eichmann, a key architect of the Holocaust. Eichmann was ultimately captured in Argentina by Israeli agents, tried for his crimes and executed in 1962. But Mengele evaded capture and lived until 1979. There is no doubt that many war criminals used this route to escape justice. However, some believe that the Nazis escaped justice in other ways. It's been proposed that during and after World War II, Germans relocated to Antarctica, where they established military bases and settled in an underground cavern. There are even suggestions that the Earth may be hollow, and that the base is situated within a massive underground void, known as Agatha, that contains vast resources including water and vegetation. The rationale for choosing Antarctica is that it is one of the few locations where access to these caverns was possible. The Nazi Antarctica base theory stems from the interest the Nazis showed in Antarctica in the 1930s. In December 1938, Hitler sent an expedition to explore a region of Antarctica and claim it for the Third Reich. The official reason was to build a whaling station so the Germans wouldn't be so dependent on importing whale oil from Norway as the country geared up for war. They landed in an area recently claimed by Norway. They charted the region, planted Nazi flags, and even dropped iron swastikas from planes. The area was named Neuschwabenland, after their ship. Ultimately, the Nazi claim to the territory was abandoned in 1945, and no permanent base or whaling station was ever established there. However, conspiracy theorists believe the reason no visible base can be seen is because the Germans built underground. They believe the base was prepared as an escape if the Nazis lost the war. Some believe that Hitler didn't shoot himself in the Führer bunker in Berlin, but rather was stowed away on a U-boat and headed for the underground base that had been prepared years earlier. Today, conspiracists are convinced the base still exists, and the Germans use it to conduct experiments on abandoned extraterrestrial technology and the next generation of Nazis. It is claimed that Operation High Jump, a military exercise designed to prepare American troops for potential Arctic warfare, was actually an assault on the underground Nazi base after they found out about it. However, the operation abruptly ended after American forces were repelled by Nazi UFOs, with casualties cited as evidence of this encounter. Notably, the second and third arguments are interconnected. Operation High Jump supposedly confirms the existence of the Nazi base, while the existence of said base provides a rationale for why the Americans were in Antarctica in the first place. What do you make of this one? So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and let us know which conspiracy you think holds the most weight below. Take care, and we'll see you next time.